Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. It's 7 o'clock with an echo. All right. So this is our meeting of September 7th, 2021. And first item on the agenda is our call to order. So we'll call the meeting to order, and then invocation and pledge of allegiance. So please remain standing. Tonight we have Father Peter from St. Anthony's Church with us to lead us in our invocation. Father?
Very good.
We begin this gathering seeking the guidance of the Almighty Father, recognizing that He is always with us, as He commanded us in the book of Matthew, "Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest." When hours of discouragement invade our soul, and tears come up in our eyes, we seek you, the one who knows how to comfort us and soon stops our tears. When our mood disappears to fight in the difficulties of life, or we feel that we are soon to faint, we call you, the force capable of removing the stones from our path and overcoming the adversities of the world. When without clemency, we find ourselves with nowhere to rest our head, we run next to you, the shelter in whose bosom we will find a den for our body and tranquility for our spirit. When we lack calm in times of great affliction and consider ourselves unable to preserve serenity of spirit, we call you, the patience that will help us overcome the most painful difficulties and succeed in the most difficult situations. When the world only makes false promises and we believe that no one can inspire us confidence anymore, we come to you, the sincerity which knows how to correspond to the frankness of our attitudes and the nobility of our ideas. When sadness or melancholy tries to harbor in our hearts, we cry to you, the joy that breathes with new breath and will make us know the charms of our inner world. When ungodliness reveals to us the faults and hardness of human heart, clarify us, forgiveness, which lifts our spirits and promote the rehabilitation of our souls. When we doubt everything, even our own convictions and skepticism, address our soul, we turn to you, the faith that floods us with light and understanding so that we can reach happiness. And finally, when all things fail, we come to you because you are God who is always faithful to your promise. We come to you because in you we find rest and our yoke will be easy. Father in heaven, grant our leaders strength to lead us, like you gave the strength to Abraham, Moses, Jacob, and Peter. Amen.
Amen. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Father. Thank you, Bob. Yes, sir. All right, let the roll call show that all members of the council are present.
So noted.
Mayor McFarland, considering minutes, I move approval of the City Council regular meeting minutes from August 16th. Move approval of the Board of Adjustment minutes from May 18th. Move approval of the minutes on July 13th from the Board of Adjustments. Consider approval of the Casa Grande Police Personnel Retirement Board minutes. Approve acceptance of the Casa Grande Police Personnel Retirement Board minutes. Consider accepting the Casa Grande Fire Personnel Retirement Board minutes. Consider accepting the Casa Grande Fire Personnel Retirement Board minutes. The first one was on June 3rd. The second one's on August 19th. and then consider accepting the Casa Grande Youth Commission minutes as presented.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, all the minutes are approved. Entertain the record. Next, we have claims against the city.
Mayor McFarland, I move to accept and pay the claims dated August 11th through 31st, 2021 as presented.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to approve the claims. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, claims are approved. Meeting agenda approval tonight. Larry, any changes? We have none, Mr. Mayor. Any changes from council? Okay. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
How about a second?
Second?
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the agenda is approved. We do have some special presentations tonight. First is our swearing in of one of our new officers, Andrew Wagner. Is Andrew here? There he is. I see him.
Yes.
Welcome, and congratulations too, by the way. Our city clerk will do the swearing in. Andrew, congratulations again.
Need to go down there?
Yeah, I need to go down here. That we've got here tonight is a young man who's decided to retire, Mr. Kevin Madden. Kevin, you want to come up here, please? Congratulations, by the way. So, just a little bit about Kevin. We're doing a dual recognition this evening, one for the fire department employees and then one for making 20 years service retirement. So you're getting a double whammy. Yeah, twofer. There you go. So Kevin came to us in Casa Grande back in April of 2021 with a lot of experience in fire service and with the Arizona Police Officer certification as well. So he was hired as a fire captain, paramedic, and was promoted to the fire battalion chief in May of 2007. As you might guess, over his 20-year career, he's been involved in a number of functions in the department, including Fire Explorer program, which is invaluable, by the way, and thank you for doing that. And functioned as the department, including the Fire Explorer program, the radio system management, getting preemption devices installed in the traffic signals, which, whether you know it or not, is kind of critical around, especially now that the city of Casa Grande is growing up. Web page. I'm not sure what the department's going to do with you gone, since you kind of looks like you ran about every special department that they had. Chief, I think you're in trouble. He admits it. Acquisitions, outfitting, the list goes on and on. But Mr. Madden has decided it's time to close that chapter in his life, open a new one. And with that, we thank him. We thank you for your longtime contributions to the city and to the fire department, and wish you well and best of luck. So we have a couple of them here. Is somebody here, somebody got cameras? You got to have a camera? There we go.
Mayor, can I add something?
Yeah.
I had the pleasure to work with Kevin for many of those years, and something that he can add to his resume tonight. He, at one time, I don't think you still are, but was a reserve police officer for Marana. And his knowledge with radio communications and the knowledge of police work and with the fire service was invaluable. Both departments have worked very closely with him on his expertise with radios, and thank you, Kevin, for all of that. Much appreciated.
And we do hire guys back, too, that have some of that experience, right?
He had a special comment from a fire chief out of town that congratulated him on what he's done, so that's pretty nice.
Oh, my God.
I'm not a firefighter.
Need some help, Mayor?
This one, just so you don't even really read this, but it's in recognition for your years of service in the Casa Grande Fire Department, and the citizens that you were sworn to protect will forever be a part of our history. May you never have to do a truck check ever again. Congratulations. Tell me that's not heavy.
On the way out. Just want to thank the city for the 20 years that I've been here. It's certainly been a privilege to serve with the city. I've met a lot of great people, forged a lot of great relationships, and was very blessed to have been part of the city's history. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Right, you're gonna find a place on the wall for all that hardware. Congratulations again. All right, next is item G, which is our consent agenda items. All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine matters and will be enacted by one motion and one roll call vote of the council. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or member of the public so requests, in which event the item will be removed from consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence of the agenda. Does anybody have anything you want to pull off the consent agenda? Anybody from the public? All right, seeing none, then I'll entertain a motion
I
to
move
approve.
approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. Gloria, can I please get a roll call vote?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right. Item H is our public comments. So this is the part in the tonight's agenda where we will open the floor. So I'm going to open the floor to anybody in the audience who would like to address the council. This is an opportunity for you to let us know what you're thinking. We cannot respond to it because it's not an agendized item, but we promise that if it's pertinent and necessary, we'll direct staff to follow up. And please, if you come up, State your name and your address for the records, and please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, I'm John Stagel, and I live at 333 East 10th Street. This is my second year in Casa Grande, and I like it well enough. I saw your long-term plan, and it's pretty ambitious, but I think in order to implement it successfully, you're going to have to establish some bases. A couple of the things that you probably need to consider are the state of the trash collection in this town. When I first moved here, I addressed that. Nobody likes to see those giant black containers in the alleys. And they attract vandals, they attract panhandlers. And as I recall, back when I first brought it up, the mayor said that he was going to study it. And they came up with a study, and I'm sure it came up relatively expensive to do that. But by the same token, I don't know if you considered picking up trash once a week instead of twice. I've never lived in a place that picked up trash twice a week. So you may want to revisit that. And the other thing is, it's weed season now. Has anyone ever given any thought to a weed ordinance? You know, it doesn't have to be particularly harsh, but it has to be somewhat effective. And, you know, if you're going to do a growth plan, all somebody has to do is drive through the alleys in this town, and they'll forget it real quickly. And which brings up another point. The alleys are public right-of-way. Even if we don't do a weed ordinance, at least the city should maintain their own right-of-way. You know, 10th Street, where I live, is somewhat considered an alley for some reason. And so we have the large garbage cans on 10th Street, we have the large garbage cans on Casa Grande, and people just dump trash next to them like crazy. And you paid good money for a brochure outlining the rules for large trash. When I called somebody at the city to complain about that, or at least to raise their attention to it, they said, well, you have to call code enforcement. Code enforcement does nothing because there's no code. So you might want to formalize that a little bit. But like I said, I've been here for 2 years now. I enjoy it well enough. There's a few things that need some attention. Florence, all the vacancies on Florence, the big strip mall on I-8 and I-10, and of course, Phoenix Mart. You don't want to get trapped into those again. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we agree with all of your comments, by the way. So we'll have somebody from staff follow up with you, because some of your concerns, I think, have been and or are being addressed. You're welcome. Thank you for your comments. Pardon me?
You get his information.
Yeah. Gloria, you got it, didn't you? Yeah. And it's recorded too, so we have it. His name and address anyway. Could have got a phone number. Is there anyone else in the audience tonight that would like to address council? Okay, seeing none, then I'm going to close the public comments, and we'll move to item I-1, first awarding of a contract.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Aaron Walter, presenting for Steve Hardesty today. The item I'm bringing to you today is the parking lot repair program for this fiscal year. Staff recommends the mayor and city council authorize an agreement with Cactus Asphalt of Tolleson, Arizona, in the amount not to exceed $113,749.63 for the maintenance and the repair of parking lots at the Little League Complex, Burris Park, Rancho Grande Park, Lencola, and the older sections of Carmignac Park, which weren't done in 2019 when the park was renovated. Staff is requesting budget authority of additional $11,000, which would provide a 10% contingency for unknown issues during the project. The total budget authority requested is $124,749.63. Just a couple other notes while you kind of read down through the information. Last year, the parking lot program focused on the large parks in the inventory, which was Paul Mason, Lago, and Dave White Park. This year, we are proposing to resurface the remaining asphalt parking lots within the park system. The contractor we are proposing performed asphalt maintenance for both Public Works and the community services in the past and has had a good reputation. The type of resurfacing will help extend the useful life of these parking lots. The procurement method is job order contract pricing from the Pinal County contractor number 175923. I stand for any questions, thoughts, or comments.
Aaron, I know Rotary Park is also kind of in need, but is that part of the trail piece that we've already approved?
Yes, I believe so, because they were going to be redoing that parking lot or reshaping it as part of the Rotary.
And make it part of the,
trail project.
make it look like it's part of the trail program?
Yep, correct.
Okay. Okay, great, thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Yeah, Matt?
Just a question, I think I know the answer, but, so this is a bigger project than what we want to do internally and save us some money by doing it with an outside contractor?
Yeah, I can ask Steve about that. I'm not 100% sure on that question, if they looked at it internally or just with contracting it out.
Okay. Yeah, that's a, what's that?
I said no.
No? Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments or questions? Thank you, Aaron. All right, seeing no more comments or questions, then I'll call for resolution number, please, Gloria.
Resolution number 5334, a resolution of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, accepting a proposal from Cactus Asphalt for pavement maintenance and repair services for parking lots at various city parks, authorizing expenditure of public funds, authorizing execution of a contract with or purchase order to Cactus Asphalt.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve Resolution 5334 as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Gloria, can I please get a roll call vote?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, Chief, I guess the next one's yours. I-2. He's waiting for one of you guys to give up your seat.
Aaron's like gladly.
Aaron goes, sure.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I'm here to talk to you tonight about the approving an ordinance. It's a sole source purchase for Motorola Solutions. It's actually a renewal of our maintenance contract for Motorola radios at the Communication Center. It's a 4-year contract, and this year's amount would be $48,400 with 24 cents. The contract would go for the next 4 years, 48 months. And this is essentially, there's no person there. This is, if anything breaks, we call them, they come right out and fix it.
And this is per year, Chief?
Per year, yes, sir.
Okay.
And it totals about $200,000 after the 4 years.
Okay.
Other than that, there's not a whole lot other than this is just a renewal of a contract we've had in place for quite a while.
Okay. Did they raise it at all, or is it about the same?
It got raised a little bit, yes.
Okay. Anybody else? Anybody have any questions on this? Kind of a necessary evil.
Absolutely, especially when you have Motorola stuff.
Yeah. All right, then I'll, if no other comments or questions, then I'll call for an ordinance number, please, Gloria.
Ordinance number 3290, an ordinance of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, accepting a sole source provider offer from Motorola Solutions, Inc. for a 4-year service agreement to provide support and maintenance services for the city's public safety radio, products, and equipment, authorizing expenditure of public funds and authorizing the execution of documentation by the city manager.
Mayor McFarland, I move for approval of ordinance number 3290 as presented.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Gloria, can I please get a roll call vote?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman,
Yes.
Councilmember Powell,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston,
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, next item is I3.
Yes, sir, this one is very similar to the first one that we just went over. The difference in this is that we have different systems over there. This is for what's called the NICE system, or the NICE recorder. This is what records all the incoming phone calls from all the various jurisdictions. It also tapes and records all the radio traffic that takes place on all of our radio frequencies. So it is actually a different system, and it's on a different contract, because it is actually a different company. Even though it's managed by Motorola, that company is a separate company. I will tell you that this price did go up significantly. We switched to this system several years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, when Chief Miller and a different communications manager were over at the communications center, because we were told Motorola was purchasing this company, and it was supposed to give us a significant rate decrease. That didn't happen. The deal fell through with Motorola, so they actually raised the prices. So we are speaking with the city manager and talking to him about alternatives, and we'll see how that goes. But we don't have the ability. We have to have the ability to tape police and fire radio traffic and all the phone calls that come in 24/7. So we don't have the ability to switch that right now, but we are investigating that and looking into it. But for right now, we are asking that you renew the contract. And it is a contract that the city attorney's reviewed that we are allowed to get out of if we have to.
Okay, so we're not stuck with the 4 years?
We're not stuck with the 4 years, yeah. If we find something else more appropriate, we can switch to it. It is a 48-month contract, exactly like the other one. It is a renewal. It is a sole source also, because it's through Motorola. It is $80,256, and over the 4 years, it'll end up being $330,803 over the 4-year period of time. I don't know if you have any other questions about this one.
Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Curiosity, do you know offhand how many channels it'll record?
A bunch. I mean, it records every phone. It'll record all the phone lines and all the radios and stuff that come in, and all the stuff that comes from the county and all the other jurisdictions.
I assume it was going to be a big number. I remember when we went from 4 to 8, and we were just amazed. And
It's
I'm
way
sure
higher,
this
yeah.
one's over 100.
It's way higher than that.
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. Thank you.
You get caught up on your Motorola stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chief.
You're welcome.
All right, seeing no other comments or questions, then I'll call for resolution number, please, Gloria.
It is an
Oh, I'm
ordinance.
sorry, ordinance number. Sorry, I got
Ordinance
ahead of
number
myself.
3291, an ordinance of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, accepting a sole source provider offer from Motorola Solutions, Inc. for a 4-year service agreement to provide support and maintenance services for the city's 911 logging recording system, authorizing expenditure of public funds, and authorizing the execution of a contract by the city manager.
Mayor McFarland, I move to approve ordinance number 3291 as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Gloria, can I please get a roll call vote?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, next item on the agenda is I4. It goes to you, Kevin.
Thank you. Staff recommends that the mayor and city council authorize the city manager to execute a purchase agreement with Rush Truck Centers of Arizona in an amount not to exceed $1,256,157 for the purchase of 4 2023 Peterbilt 520 chassis with the Spartan 300 automated side load bodies for use in our city's sanitation department. Very similar to our last request last year, and this is just the next 4 trash trucks, our side load trucks that are up for replacement. All of these are experiencing major breakdowns at this point, and the equipment that we have on them, the manufacturer's no longer in business, so it's very challenging for us to find replacement parts. We've been very challenged with that. We are using Rush Truck Center for the chassis, but we're using our local vendor,
Spartan.
thank you, Spartan, for our side load bodies. Again, this is a truck that we've been using for 2 years now, and really enjoy having that in our fleet. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. And this is on a state contract.
Yeah, Spartan's a local company here. They make all the hardware that goes on the truck, so. If you haven't been a chance to get over there, it's worth taking a tour of their facilities. It's pretty cool. Anybody have any questions for Kevin?
I just have a comment, Kevin. I asked him the other day, there was a truck driving through my neighborhood collecting trash, and it had a different city's name on it. I was like, Kevin, he goes, yeah, our trucks are that bad, and they were good enough to loan us a demo truck so that we could do our routes. So that was kind of neat. And then also this gentleman that I know, a resident, does some contract work on our trash trucks, and he is about the most fiscally conservative person I've ever met, and he even said, you guys need to buy some new trash trucks. So, thanks, Kevin. I know they're needed, and you get your use out of these trucks.
Does the crew like the new trucks, the Spartan body? or-
Yeah, they're performing really well. And, you know, when they were developing this side load body, we actually worked with them with their demo products, pointed out quite a few things that we weren't happy with and thought were going to be challenges. So we really worked through that, and they went out of their way to really provide us a product that we can really feel comfortable with.
Good, okay, good. Any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, then I will entertain a resolution number, please, Gloria.
Resolution number 5335, a resolution of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, accepting the bid from Rush Truck Centers of Arizona, Inc. for the purchase of 4 2023 Peterbilt chassis with side load bodies, authorizing expenditure of public funds, and authorizing execution of a contract with or purchase order to Rush Truck Centers of Arizona, Inc., in accordance with the terms and conditions submitted to the Arizona State bid list.
Mayor McFarland, I move approval of resolution number 5335 as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Gloria, can I please get a roll call vote?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, next item is I-5.
Thank you. Staff recommends that the mayor and city council authorize the city manager to execute a purchase agreement with Bingham Equipment Company in an amount not to exceed $121,938 for the purchase of a new hardline LP 103 remote-controlled skid steer loader. The Streets Division maintains a number of drainage structures throughout the city's transportation system, and in that inventory are somewhere around 32 box culverts that we have to maintain. With the recent rains, if you've driven by, one I'll point out is the one at Treckle Road and the Santa Cruz Wash. You'll see that east side, how silted in that is. Those are areas that we have to maintain on a regular basis. And up until this point, we've used several different methods, including shovels and buckets, all the way to a makeshift drag line that we used for a couple years. Very labor intensive, and this piece of equipment, if approved, is really going to increase our ability to get these drainage structures opened up for new storm events much quicker than we're able to now, and hopefully keep us from having any road closures in those areas. We are using a skid steer loader that we're purchasing from our local vendor, Bingham Equipment, and then using Hardline for the upfit of this piece of equipment. They basically chop this thing in half and then put all the remote control parts in the bottom half of the machine so that it fits into our 4-foot-high culverts. So it's basically a skid steer without the top. And then we have a remote control that we use, and an operator will run that while we clean these things out. We are using state contract for this purchase, so with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions? Yes, Mr. Powell?
I was kind of smiling at this. It looks like this belongs at the rodeo grounds, a remote-controlled skid steer loader. We get steers out there that need to be loaded all the time, so maybe we can borrow it from you.
You'd like that remote control, huh?
Any other questions or comments?
No, I just had, out of curiosity, Kevin, something was mentioned about helping with employee injuries. Have we ever, out of curiosity, experienced injuries surrounding this?
So I can't tell you how many times when we used to do this by hand, how many times the hard hat would fall off when they would try and stand up, forget they were in a short box culvert. When you're carrying buckets out, running your hand up against the edge of the culverts. Nothing major, no major injuries, just things that create issues for us, and a lot of sore backs, obviously.
Yeah, thankfully this will help.
Yeah, definitely. Any other comments, questions? All right, seeing none, then I'll call for a resolution number, please, Gloria.
Resolution number 5336, a resolution of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, accepting a bid from Bingham Equipment Company for the purchase of remote-controlled skid steer loader, authorizing expenditure of public funds and authorizing execution of a contract with or purchase order to Bingham Equipment Company in accordance with the terms and conditions submitted to the Arizona State Bid List.
Mayor McFarland, I move move acceptance of resolution number 5336 as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second, and just a note too, Bingham Equipment Company is also a local company. I know they have some stores elsewhere, but they have a good presence here in our city. So I'll entertain, or not entertain, I have a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, Kevin, the next item is I-6. You're just spending the city's money tonight, aren't you?
We're staying busy, sir. Staff recommends that the mayor and city council authorize the city manager to execute a purchase agreement with Bingham Equipment Company in an amount not to exceed $71,443 for the purchase of one Kubota wheel loader and trailer for the use in the sanitation division. We currently have one Kubota loader and trailer in our system for the two crews that do all of our uncontained trash. And those are the guys the crews that go out and clean up the debris that ends up in our alleys, not within our 300-gallon containers.
Like the gentleman talked about tonight.
Exactly. Oftentimes, our crews have to skip piles because they're too large to lift them and put them into our rear loads manually. So this will really help increase or decrease the amount of time it takes for us to get through each of our zones. We currently have 6 zones that we do, and help us stay ahead of the curve when it comes to keeping our alleys in a little better looking shape. So again, this is a local contractor, and we are purchasing this off of a state contract as well. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Lisa?
Not a question, just a comment. You know, I live in a neighborhood with an alley, and I just wanted to compliment your staff on what they do. You know, driving throughout the community, and when you look at alleys, it's so frustrating when you see people dumping mattresses and, you know, furniture and everything, and it's gotta be hard for your staff to keep up on it. So when I saw that we were purchasing this, I was happy to see that, because, I mean, you talk about, you know, morale and, you know, I mean, it's gotta be frustrating when you leave one day and the next day, you know, people are just dumping. So I think the gentleman made a good point. You know, maybe we, you know, promote and advertise a little more on what to do, but I just wanted to compliment what your people do, because I see it, you know, in these alleys, and they're definitely working at it. I just wish everyone would just have some respect, I guess, but no, just a comment.
We're lucky we have good alleys.
Anybody else? Any other comments, questions, comments? All right, seeing none. Thank you, Kevin. Seeing none, I'll call for resolution number, please, Gloria.
Resolution number 5337, a resolution of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, accepting the bid from Bingham Equipment Company for the purchase of a wheel loader and a trailer, authorizing expenditure of public funds and authorizing execution of a contract with or purchase order to Bingham Equipment Company in accordance with the terms and conditions submitted to the Arizona State Bid List.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve Resolution 5337 as presented.
Second?
All right, I have a motion and a second. Gloria, can I please get a roll call vote?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, item I-7 is considering approval of ordinance number 3292.
Thank you. Staff recommends that the mayor and city council award a contract for sewer cleaning services to Ancon Marine Incorporated. This agreement will provide for sewer cleaning services on a job order basis in an amount not to exceed $350,000 for our wastewater division. The main purpose of cleaning our sewers is to remove the debris that gets stuck in there and starts to break down, which creates the H2S gas, which is very detrimental to our sewer system, especially the manholes, when it starts to eat away at the concrete and some of our older sewer collection system. We did put this project out for solicitation for qualifications, and we had 5 firms respond to that solicitation, and then based on our review of those firms, Ancon Marine was selected as the top-ranked contractor to use for this project. We have used Ancon for several years now, and we've been very pleased with their past service and anticipate having good service in the future. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Powell?
I know in past years, there's been times when we've had a lot of complaints about sewer smells and those type of things, but I don't recall anything now that's happening like that. Are we pretty well keeping it in the pipeline, hopefully?
I wish I could say yes, but no. We continue to get odor complaints
Okay.
and high H2S in areas. I will tell you, honestly, we have a much better control over it, and we've made some changes in how we attack the different sections of sewer. Some areas we do twice a year, some we do every 4 or 5 years. So we've really learned where those trouble spots are, and we're able to hit those more often, and I think that has decreased some of the complaints. But there are still a number of complaints, and it's an issue that's not going away with our flat system.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, seeing none, then I'll entertain an ordinance, please.
Ordinance number 3292, an ordinance of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, accepting a proposal for sewer cleaning services, authorizing expenditure of public funds, and authorizing execution of a contract with and/or purchase order to Ancon Marine, Inc.
Mayor McFarland, I move to approve ordinance number 3292 as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Gloria, can I please get a roll call vote?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, the next 3 items are kind of related. You want to take them all at once or one at a time?
With your permission, that would be great. So the next 3 are requests for, staff has recommended that the mayor and city council authorize the city manager to sign lease agreements with 3 individuals, Mr. Redemeyer, Mr. Hill, and Mr. Compton, for 3 land leases. And these are the land leases that we allow out at the airport for individuals to build private hangars. They're based on a 40-year lease agreement, and then at the end of that 40-year lease, the asset reverts to city ownership, or per our direction, they remove that from our site and return it to its original condition at the end of that lease. So doesn't generate a lot of revenues for us. One of them is two of them are 3,025 square foot hangars that bring in an annual fee of $1,452. And then the third one is a 4,941 square foot hangar that will bring in annual revenues of $2,371. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Oh, it's in here.
I did not bring a map that I could put up on the screen.
Are they all kind of in the same area, Kevin?
So we've got the 5 spaces that are available, and I think 3 hangars are built immediately south of the terminal building. As you pull into the terminal on the right-hand side, right by the Aerovac helicopter site where that used to be. And then south of the access fence are the other areas. We've got a group of 4 that are kind of southwest, and then a group of 3 more that are southeast of that taxiway
So is
that
this the
goes
one by
directly
Olson?
south.
Is this one by Olson's hangar then?
Yes, one will be by Olson's.
All right, thank you. I was just curious.
Question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Kevin, and maybe this is for Brett, is that end of the lease at 40 years? And are the terms negotiable at that point? I mean, could somebody have an expectation that I'm in year 35, but I want to maintain some level of control over this? And I think on top of that, my question is if I had the hangar and I was in year 30 plus, I would be pretty slow to put any money back into it if it needed some kind of improvement or maintenance or whatever.
Sure, and I think Mr. Lewis can answer this to some degree as well, but, and I have to remember what the existing ones are, but in the past, I think we've renewed one when it came up to that. The council gets to make that determination, right, in terms of whether we want the hangar, whether we want the space to lease to someone else, or whether we want to just continue to renew that lease. And so everything is always renegotiable if the leaseholder wants to come back to the council and suggest something different. But the term of the lease, they got at least 30 years, and as we've talked about in the past, that was essentially so they could amortize, the cost. While the revenues are pretty low, the cost of building the hangar is relatively high. And I think, the intent, obviously, for the city as we start to enter into these is to keep them at the end, but what happens 40 years from now is going to be the council to decide that's probably not going to involve any of us.
Yeah, maybe you want the space back,
Okay, thank you.
because you're building a terminal
Yeah.
for people. Hey, I'm thinking big. Okay. All right, well, we'll entertain, unless anybody has any questions on these leases, we'll entertain one at a time, so I'll take I-8 first. Gloria, so I'll entertain ordinance number 3293, please.
Ordinance number 3293. An ordinance of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, approving the lease of Lot 9 located at the Casa Grande Municipal Airport to Nomad Air Aviation LLC and authorizing the execution of the lease agreement by the city manager.
Mayor McFarland, I move for approval of ordinance number 3293 as presented.
Second?
All right, I have a motion and a second. Gloria, can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, the next item is lot number 8, so we'll consider ordinance number 3294.
Ordinance number 3294, an ordinance of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, approving the lease of lot number 8 at the Casa Grande Municipal Airport to Cannon Hill and authorizing the execution of a lease agreement by the city manager.
Mayor McFarland, I move to approve ordinance number 3294 as presented.
Second?
All right, a motion and a second. Gloria, can I please get a roll call vote?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, and the last lease here for the airport is, let's consider an ordinance number 3295, please.
Ordinance number 3295, an ordinance of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, approving the lease of Lot 5A located at the Casa Grande Municipal Airport to Fred Azona Coolidge LLC, and authorizing the execution of a lease agreement by the city manager.
Mayor McFarland, I move approval of ordinance number 3295 as presented.
Second?
All right, I have a motion and a second. Gloria, can I please get a roll call vote?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes, and I like to see the Fertizona involved, so that's a good sign.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, next is our item J, which is our boards and commissions, and this is, these are recommendations that were put up by two of my fellow council members and myself in terms of the airport advisory board, and it's to consider approving the appointment of Charlie Luss and Dave Goss, and then reappointing Terry Emig to the Airport Advisory Board, terms to expire September 8th of 2024. I don't see any of them here oh, there you are, sorry. Didn't recognize you with the patch. Oh, well, hopefully they got it all. There you go. Well, I'm sorry.
You tell him, Charlie.
I thought I said loose. No, I said louse? No, I said
Less.
well, I said lus, sorry. I didn't say a louse, though, so. All right, well, first of all, Charlie, thank you for your service. Thank you for being, for volunteering and being part of this group. And to all of our volunteers, really, we thank them profusely, because the pay really is not very good. But your dedication to the city is much appreciated, so thank you. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve these three volunteers.
I so move.
Second?
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve the three nominees for the advisory board for the airport. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, well, Charlie, since you're the only one here, congratulations.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, next item we have our item K. First item is resolution number 5338. This is a e-qual system, which I
Yes,
think the city clerk can describe.
yes, it is.
Has to do
Mayor
with all of us.
McFarland, members of the city council, we are starting to plan our election for 2022. Seems like just yesterday we had our election, but we are actually starting once again to plan for our election. For this upcoming election, Arizona Revised Statute 16317 states in part that the Secretary of State shall provide a system for qualified electors to be able to sign petitions for candidates for city, town office, county office, and to be able to do that electronically. The Secretary of State has made available to the cities a system called eQual, and it will allow, first of all, it starts with the city clerk's department where we will do the administration part of it. And I have to tell you that it did make me nervous, but they did provide a site where we could practice, if you will. So we did receive training, and we have been on there practicing on their site. So it will start with me providing all the administration part of it. The next part will be for all the candidates to go in, sign in, get a log-in for you to be able to start your petition. And then there's the part where the voter can elect to go on there and can sign nomination petitions, not only for city council, but other elections going on,
statewide
other
elections.
petitions that
All
will.
statewide elections, right?
Yes, that is correct. Like I said, it is a new system. We will provide the training. The city clerk's office will provide the training. We are hoping to have it available. We're looking at coming to the council on October 4th and letting you know that we have our packets available, and we'll do an overview training as we've done in the past on October 6th. Right now, again, we're still working on getting it up, so it's not available, but we will make it available. It is not required for candidates to use this system, so I want to make sure that there is that understanding that it is an option for you to use the electronic nomination petitions. You can elect to use both. You can elect to do it electronically and also to submit hard copies of your petitions. I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have regarding the system.
Donna?
I just have one, because we can do the hard copy, or candidates can do the hard copy or the nomination,
And/or.
electronically.
Correct. A
Is that-
combination of both.
How is it gonna work for your staff? Is that gonna make more work for your staff? I mean, how is it?
No, because the electronic version, when we set it up, it will say you cannot submit more than, you cannot collect more than X amount of signatures, not more than 743 signatures. So if you're doing it all electronically, it will stop you. You won't be able to do more than 743 signatures. When you are ready to come in and file with the city clerk's office, your nomination packet, you will hit submit. And we will get that notice that you have your nomination petitions available electronically. You can choose to do half of them on the day of the election, the day you come in to file your nomination packet. Again, you will hit submit, and if you have 500 and you have another 200 in paper, you just come in with your paper and we'll get the notice of the other 500. It does not make it harder,
Okay.
no. Again, it is an option for the candidates. We're doing it, again, to provide voters the ability to go on and sign nomination petitions. If you choose to do it electronically, it will give the candidate an address, if you will, where you can copy it and you can send it to your email address and send it to everybody else. And that's where it will take them directly, using that link, it will take them directly to the state's website.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Thank you, Gloria.
And I can tell you that even though I was nervous using it, because I've been doing elections for over 30 years, I was nervous, but it is very, very easy. The state has put together some instructions, both for the administration part of it, for the candidates, and for the voters. So it is very easy to use.
Yeah, they had it the last election.
Right, they just didn't make it right.
Nobody was using it very much.
Just
I-
one more comment.
Yeah, Mr. Powell, go ahead.
I'm really glad to see allows the registered voters to securely sign a candidate's nomination electronically by requiring voter information, date of birth, driver's license numbers. And I think that is, I really like seeing that in there.
Okay. Any other questions, comments for Gloria? All right, seeing none, then I'll call for a resolution number, please, Gloria.
Resolution number 5338, a resolution of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, authorizing the administrative setup and use of the equal system for beginning with the 2022 mayor and council elections.
Mayor, Mc-
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Mayor McFarland, I move to approve resolution number 5338 as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Gloria, can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, next is approval of ordinance number 3296. This is for some 96-gallon refuse containers.
Thank you. Staff is recommending the mayor and city council authorize the city manager to execute a purchase agreement with Toter LLC in an amount not to exceed $90,000 for the purchase of 1,272 96-gallon residential trash containers for the city sanitation operations. We are asking authorization to use the national IPA contract for this purchase, and the purchase price per container is $68.96. In 2020, we last purchased these containers at a price of $51.26. So it just gives you an idea of the price increases we're seeing for the resin and plastics that are used in these products. And you may be thinking, deja vu, didn't we just approve a contract to purchase these containers about a month ago? And we did. But that vendor was not able to provide those containers at the price per the contract, so we had to find a new contract to use. So that's what this is for. And just a note that we delivered approximately 1,300 containers in the last year, delivered out to new and replacement sites. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Excuse me.
Thanks, Kevin. Anybody have any questions on this? Comments? Yeah. Bob?
Kevin, a question, and I don't know how to describe them. I'm not technical enough for these containers, but one looks like a Rubbermaid type material, and the other one looks like a hard plastic. With that description, can you tell us which one these are?
So these are going to more resemble the hard plastic.
Okay.
They're the spun resin type containers. The old rubber ones are very old, and we can no longer purchase those types of containers.
Oh, okay.
So those are probably the oldest one in our inventories.
Okay.
But the toters that we've been purchasing most of the containers from in the past 12 years are the same type. So
Okay.
these are going to be very similar to that type.
Okay, thank you.
You know, just a comment too, I am disappointed that the local company was not able to fulfill, you know, what they agreed upon, because, you know, we're always trying to do local, and this is one example of it's out of our control.
Any other questions or comments? All right, thank you, Kevin. Seeing no more comments, then I'll call for an ordinance number, please, Gloria.
Ordinance number 3296, an ordinance of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, accepting a bid from Toter LLC for the purchase of 1,272 96-gallon refuse containers, authorizing expenditure of public funds, and authorizing execution of a contract with or purchase order to Toter LLC.
Mayor McFarland, I move for approval of ordinance number 3296 as presented.
Second?
All right, I have a motion and a second. Gloria, can I please get a roll call vote?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, we're on the home stretch. Two more primary items to cover here tonight.
Lead
L1
us home, Mayor.
is the public hearing. This is a public hearing, so this is amending a zoning ordinance number 1178.
All right.
You're on, you're keeping us from going home, so.
All right, I'll go through them quick. Mayor, council, first item we'll look at is the Casa Grande Technology Park, PAD. Joe Alza is requesting a zone change from garden and light industrial and urban ranch to planned area development for approximately 56 acres of land located on the southeast corner of Thornton and Peter. You can see the location down below. It's directly across the street from both Walmart and Lucid. You can see the existing zoning here of I-1 and urban ranch. So the Casa Grande Technology Hub, PAD, is near three major industrial projects: Lucid, Walmart Distribution, and LKQ. And the zone change request is to position the property to provide ancillary, supportive, and compatible uses within that existing industrial corridor. The City of Casa Grande's PAD designation provides property owners the flexibility to develop land utilizing site-specific development standards, which creates a harmony between the potential land uses that would not be possible through traditional zoning. Utilizing the basic parameters of the B4 and I2 zones, this PAD is going to provide development regulations and design guidelines that facilitate a mix of commercial, manufacturing, and industrial uses, while also ensuring a cohesive and quality design within that PAD. And this is just the conceptual land use to kind of show you how the uses are laid out. The B4 or the heavy commercial uses are in red, where the heavy industrial uses are in the back of the property, although one's abutting up against Thornton. When looking at the PAD review criteria, we cover all the following. All have been covered in the staff report. We're just going to concentrate on a few key items tonight. First one is that it's the conformance to the city's general plan. The site is located within the manufacturing industry category of the 2030 general plan. Manufacturing industry category does support B4, I1, I2, and PAD zone districts. Among others, the request supports the following general plan goals and action steps. MI2 is mitigate adverse impacts from industrial users. The action step of that one is to encourage compatibility by utilizing architectural details and aesthetics. This PAD does address that by signage, walls, and some other aspects of the PAD that address those. And then the second one is MI5, encourage appropriate and responsible industrial development in appropriate locations. Again, located right in between in the industrial area, so it's an appropriate location for these types of uses. The second one is conformance with the city zoning ordinance. As a guide to reviewing the PAD zoning within a manufacturing industry category, staff will look to ensure that it's compatible with appropriate industrial zoning categories and the PAD standards. The PAD generally complies with the standards adopted with the B4 and the I2 zone districts. It is anticipated that the B4 compatible uses will be placed along that Thornton and Peters road frontages, with the I2 uses in the back, as you saw on the plan.
I just
We
want
did
to
have
comment
one
that-
setback deviation, 1740-020N on building height and setbacks. In general, a building setback from property adjacent to the PAD shall approximate the building's height. For this proposal, staff requested to provide 30-foot setbacks from all public and private streets and 15-foot setbacks from all other property boundaries. Staff believes that 15-foot setback from the perimeter of the PAD is sufficient, as the surrounding sites are all within that manufacturing industry category and will be developed as industrial sites. The 15-foot setback also matches that of the I2 and the B4 zone districts and is not likely to cause any adverse impact on surrounding properties. The 30-foot setback is appropriate from all property lines abutting public or private streets, according to staff. So staff will ensure setbacks are met at the time of any future major site plan submittal and evaluate if any of the proposed uses for that site require additional setbacks or buffering to mitigate any adverse impact on surrounding properties.
Joe, I just would like to state that the compatibility issue is great. And it's really good in here, and you're using it. I've seen it on several of them.
Yeah.
That if they're compatible, they get along. If they're not, they don't. And so.
Yeah, I think that's a critical aspect of reviewing all our site plans, so. The final criteria that we'll look at is pedestrian and vehicular ingress and egress. So as previously mentioned, a conceptual layout for the site was provided with the PAD. City staff further reviewed the access locations and requested the applicant modify that layout slightly. The applicant agreed to that. Those modifications, you can see the initial plan shown there with a turnaround in the middle of the site. Staff recommended they do something more like this, where they have a site, a road to the east of the property. That way we've got some extra access for the people to the east, and we also connect all their sites within. It helps with their setbacks as well. So at time of future development, each proposed project will be required to provide additional traffic and pedestrian access evaluations in conjunction with any site plan. Public notification went out. We met or exceeded all city requirements. No comments were received. In conclusion, Planning Commission on a 7-0 vote recommend the mayor and city council approve DSA 20-00203, a zone change from urban ranch and garden and light industrial to planned area development. The one condition, again, is our right-of-way condition. We are working now with the applicant to get right-of-way along Thornton and Peters. We have not gotten to the east road at this point. And I can answer any questions that you might have.
Anyone? Yes, Bob?
I think we all know there's a major project pending for Thornton Road to be widened to the freeway. Is there future plans for Peters? What's the expectation on that? Is that going to be a arterial or?
So Peters Road is actually being improved along the Lucid frontage. On this side, it would be based on the developer, but it is a major collector
Okay.
along that.
And are those setbacks based on what the roadway will be someday?
Yes.
Or? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
they'll do dedication for Peters Road, and the setback will be from that north property
Okay. All right, thank you.
boundary.
Anybody else?
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. All right, this is a public hearing, so I will open the floor, if there's no more comments from council. All right, I'll open the floor to the public. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this ordinance number 1178.411? Okay, seeing nobody jump up, then I'll close the floor and we'll call for a ordinance number, please, Gloria.
Ordinance number 1178.411, an ordinance of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, amending zoning ordinance 1178 and its subsequent amendments by changing the zoning from garden and light industrial and urban ranch to planned area development on approximately 55.69 acres of property generally located at the southeast corner of Thornton Road and Peters Road, Casa Grande, Arizona.
Mayor, go ahead, you go.
Mayor McFarland, I move approval of ordinance number 1178.411.
Second?
All right, I have a motion and a second. Gloria, can I please get a roll call vote?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right. Item L2 is public hearing related to the proposed annexation of 74.527 acres. Joe, is this yours too?
Yes, sir. You'll get to know me a lot in the next couple of weeks, I think. All right, this is a request for a public hearing for an annexation of approximately 74.5 acres, generally located north of Val Vista and east of Pinal Avenue. You can see it highlighted below. A blank petition and associated annexation map were filed with Pinal County Clerk and Recorder on August 11th. This area is a logical and appropriate annexation area with regards to our current city boundary. The area meets all legal requirements for annexation as set forth in the ARS statutes. At this time, the council is only being asked to conduct a public hearing on the proposed annexation. This public hearing is conducted in compliance with the requirements in the ARS to hold a public hearing within the last 10 days of the 30-day wait period that begins with the filing of that blank petition. The petition signatures may be obtained from the owners of the land proposed for annexation once the initial 30-day wait period has elapsed from the date of the filing of the blank petition. I think that's September 10th. We can collect that signature. After signatures are collected annexation ordinance will be scheduled for council consideration. The tentative dates based on that, collecting that signature, are October 4th for the first reading, October 18th for the second reading, and a 30-day cure period ending on November 17th. So ARS 9-471L requires the city annexing the area to adopt a zoning classification that permits densities and uses no greater than those already permitted. Staff is proposing the annexed properties be initially zoned urban ranch in conjunction with the annexation. That's the closest to the current general rural of the county. So that will be processed at that future hearing as well. Do we have any questions?
This is the police building.
Public safety.
Yeah, public safety.
Leave it to
Yeah,
me.
go ahead.
Is this annexation brought by the owner?
Yes.
Okay. I always thought it was state land, but it's not, huh?
No, it's owned by the Puses family, and they brought it to us.
Okay.
After analyzing it, we were looking at some other annexations in this area as well, so
Okay.
there may be future annexations in this area.
All right, thank you.
Will the PAD be used at all residentially?
The PAD is, has been submitted, and we're in review of that, and there is a residential portion of that PAD. It is for the single family for rent, while the front corner of Pinal and Val Vista is scheduled to be a mixed-use commercial site, where you see the deeper part of the box, or the site, is where they're proposing potentially single family for rent.
The requirements for the residential, excuse me for the lights. As far as PAD's concerned, that's going to work out?
Yeah, so right now, you'll see at the next council hearing that we're
Okay.
going to introduce the new PAD residential design guidelines that will address that single-family resident rental product. So
Thank
you'll see that at the next hearing.
Excellent.
All right.
Anybody have any other questions or comments? All right, so we're not going to vote, but this is a public hearing, correct? So we're going to have the initial public hearing for this proposed annexation. I don't believe there's any action on the part of council tonight, so I will open the floor to public for this proposed annexation of 74.527 acres as identified on the map here. Is there anybody here who would like to make comment? You didn't have to, you were home free.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name's Kyle Barkel. I'm actually the applicant on behalf of Puzis, the property owner. Work with RBI Planning and Landscape Architecture in Tempe, Arizona. Just wanted to say thank you to Joe for trying to help us with this annexation. It was much more ambitious to start. This is where we ended up. And to clarify Councilmember Powell's questions as part of the single family for rent, that is one of a couple possible residential design and different zones that could be in here. So we don't have a definitive user in mind at this moment, but we would like to set it up in the future for all types of multifamily development.
Okay,
And that is all.
thank you. Anybody else? All right, then I will close the public hearing and we'll call for, oh, no, don't have to call for anything, so, all right. We'll address this again on another night. So that concludes the meat of tonight's meeting. Next item is reports from council. So I'm going to start with you, Mr. Powell, you're first.
Well, I, with the cities and towns, as almost all of us did, and stayed lost pretty much the whole weekend. The whole time I was there, but one of the things that I did like, the week before that, I was in the water law deal, and the Indians were talking about the way they will lease water. They'll lease you water for 100 years, but you pay in advance. You pay when it happens. And that's 100 years from now. And figure the interest if they didn't pay all at once, I guess. But I got a kick. The Lewis was there, Governor Lewis, and I know he and the guy from Auckchannon. I was telling him, when I'd been a councilman 7 years is when that settlement came with the Indian water settlement. And some of our farmers, I'm sorry to say, gave away too much, but that's what happened, and they were allowed to not have to pay some of the things that they still owed if they would let that land go to the Native Americans. But when I went out there, there was people from all over, in all statuses, that were there and watching, and they had a blessing. You know, they did they had a shaman do a blessing and those kind of things, which is pretty impressive. But I know when they celebrated at the end of it, they were doing a basket dance around, the ladies were, and I looked over, and John Glenn, Senator Glenn was the one that, or Kyle rather, Glenn. John Glenn was different. John Kyle was there, and so I turned around and looked, and two of those ladies had him on either side. He was dancing along with them, and I saw him about 3 weeks later in Flagstaff and asked him, you know, you're a pretty good dancer. He said, you didn't take any pictures, did you? So, but it was quite a celebration.
All right.
And they seemed very friendly, as far as the ones locally here that we're close to, so.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. Bob?
Same initial comment as Mr. Powell. I enjoyed going to the League of Cities and Towns. Appreciate that the city sends us. It's a great opportunity to exchange ideas and kind of measure ourselves against what other communities are doing. And Mr. Powell's too modest to say it, but I thought the best part was him receiving his award for 16 years of service.
24.
Sorry about that, Mr. Powell. That's a
Boy, I
short.
almost went back to my youth.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Lisa?
Yes, congratulations. That's a big achievement. There weren't many receiving that award. But yes, no, of course I enjoyed attending the league, and, you know, it was nice because, you know, after not being there last year, it was nice to be able to go and see some of our counterparts in other cities and learn about what's going on. And just to kind of give everyone a little bit of an idea of some of the sessions that I attended 2 on housing. So of course we know how important housing is in the growth, and I guess the key takeaways there were, you know, of course there's a strong demand, but what amazed me is when one of the sessions they said that there's a 43% change in rent and only an 11% change in income. So, you know, that's the frustrating thing, is you see the rise in rent in apartments and single-family rentals, and of course our salaries aren't adjusting at the same rate, so that was a concern. And the second session I went to was on housing diversity, and they talked about the demand of apartments and some of the single-family rentals. So of course, you know, we're doing our best here, but, you know, we aren't growing fast enough to keep up with the demand. So I know we're working hard, the mayor's out there, staff's out there, you know, with these single-family rentals, but apartment complexes there's a huge demand, and we're not gonna be able to keep up with it. So, and because of the lack of diverse housing, it's gonna cause an increase in homelessness because people aren't able to afford houses. But what I found interesting in this class, and I thought of you, because we've had discussion on multifamily housing, is there was a person in there that was with a big apartment company. And they were saying that the average income with apartments is $100,000 a year. of people that live in these apartment complexes, and they stay on an average of 2 to 3 years in the apartments, because a lot of young people, and middle age, but any age, you know, some people, you know, are looking for a home, they can't afford it, so they're staying in an apartment, they want to be able to travel. But I thought that was interesting, because a lot of it, you know, they talked about crime, you know, people associate apartments with crime and, whatever, theft, anything, but the average income is pretty high in these apartment complexes. So that was it, and I'm not gonna go through all of them. Recycling was really good, because I'm not giving up on recycling. Steve Weaver was in there on it, and we had some good ideas on Surprise and some of the things they're doing, you know, with drop-off locations on goods that are needed. So that was really good. We still have hope there that something, homeless session, of course, I feel good about some of the things we're doing here in the city with collaboration and working with our city staff, you know, the police department, our housing department, so we're doing some great things, but we have a lot of work to do, and there were some really good ideas. And then a women leadership and the workforce development, and I think the key takeaway from that one was how 12.4% of the youth are not engaged. And so what are we going to do as a city to engage them? And I think internships, apprenticeships, mentorships are critical, and we're of course, we're working on those, but a little ways to go. And they also talked about the importance of job descriptions and how important it is to diversify your job description, because someone might not need tons of experience, but certain skill sets. So I learned a lot. I enjoyed it. Had to leave a little early, but I was good. So, sorry. I know you're ready to go, Mayor, but
It's all good. Is that it?
that's it.
Thanks, Lisa. Matt?
I've got some too, because I was at the same conference. And I think the biggest parts are water, chips, education, workforce development, right? So water was overreaching no matter what type of seminar you went to, housing or development or, you know, anything else, water. They had some on water too, and Mr. Powell had the pipeline, and I talked to some people randomly about it, and you're kind of famous among that group, so. But an interesting one was the semiconductors. As you all know, there's a huge shortage of semiconductor chips now for cars, you know, and they went through everything they use in cars, telephones. They said they think Apple's gonna have an interruption this year when they try to introduce their new models because they can't get the chips, and they're building these chip factories. And interestingly, we're at a 25 to 40% disadvantage from Asia here in the US because they subsidize so heavily. So even Senator Kelly talked about the chip bill that they have to help promote people building them, because it's a national security issue. We need to control our own type of stuff. And a neat thing from the city side is they're talking about, you know, there's going to be new chip manufacturing plants, but you can't not everyone's going to have a plant, but you can have the auxiliary, you know, the supporting businesses of these. And I think we have a couple looking right now in our city. But that's a big thing for us, because another thing is these chip plants use a lot of water, so the ancillary businesses don't. So that's a good thing that we can have. And, you know, we need to support the manufacturing. Additionally, is they brought up partnerships for education, for the workforce, and they brought up Fab 48, which is our partnership with the ACA, Lucid, everything else. And so it was used as a great example in front of everybody, and I cheered. Thank you, Richard. But yeah, I cheered in that, and I said, you know, and Bob and I had a discussion too. It's like a lot of stuff we talked about, we're doing here in Casa Grande, so we're pretty proud of that. Then the housing, real quick, it's the biggest shortage since World War II is one thing in that seminar. And housing diversity, a great fact that I learned. So if you have the same piece of property, you put the tax revenue. If you have this piece of property, you put 3 houses on it, $60,000 of tax revenue. Same piece of property, put 4 and a half, $81,000. 14 dwelling units, $196,000. 22, $332,000 of tax revenue from the same piece of land. So it really encouraged you to look at different types and get them in the right place, because they talked about traffic. It was always a big issue. He said there's going to be traffic there no matter what. It just depends on how it's going to come. And I know everyone's getting boring, but I do want to say, I went to one about the city attorneys, but that was boring, Brett. And then transportation, just how to do public-private partnerships for transportation, because it's getting so tough to get all those dollars. So, and then my last one is a small business, because as you know, near and dear to my heart. So it talks about different programs we could have. Again, our very own Casa Grande CARES Act, helping small businesses, was an example, and, you know, we're doing that. So I'll stop there because you guys were all there, but it was a lot of fun. And then I would be remiss if I think we have a youth commissioner and Boy Scout in the audience out there tonight. Mr. Ramon, thank you for coming tonight. So I don't know, he's here as both, I would guess, but he's a great member, Boy Scout and youth commissioner on his second year. And he was a trooper during our retreat because he was quarantined and he stuck on the computer all day long, and we appreciate him. So I'm glad you definitely are, and we're glad he's obviously out of quarantine now, I hope. Anyway, he's just kidding. Thanks for coming tonight,
coming.
Ramon. Yeah, we appreciate it. I was trying to give him the eyes during the public comment, but anyway, next time. And that's all I have, Mayor, finally. Mr. Lavender?
Mr. Mayor, I enjoyed the Biz Outlook luncheon. You did a wonderful job painting an optimistic future of our community. It was great to watch you make Larry blush twice during your speech. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for coming. And a shout out to Jesus Ramos, who is now 17-0. This big match Saturday night in the boxing, he looked great, dominating performance. And I think
He's in the papers this morning.
continue to represent our community very well. So
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, congratulations to him.
Donna?
So on the conference, ditto. A couple things I do want to mention. I had the opportunity to moderate one of the workshops, and it was about partnerships with nonprofit and cities. It was really well attended for being after lunch, after several days of different things going on. I will say that as one of the presenters was from the Valley, but from Boys and Girls Club, and used Casa Grande's partnership with the Boys and Girls Club as an example of a very successful partnership. And so it was really nice to hear how other, nonprofits were doing business with cities and towns. And I must say that I was very proud of hearing from other cities how they do not understand the importance of the partnerships. And I just kept marking off on my little list of all the things that we do. So we have a lot to be proud of. I do want to mention that out of all of it, we had a lot of workshops. Lisa and I were able to attend several together, and the keynote speaker was Rick Rigsby, and he was phenomenal. And I know that he's very, very much famous on the internet for some of his speeches. But what I walked away from the whole conference with, common sense, be kind, and with everything that we do and all the things that we learned, I think when we come right back and we come back to our city, we keep saying those same things to our community. So I was proud of us. Just
the saying?
What's it? No, I'm not. No, because I'll mess it up and then he'll call me back. He'll call me on stage. Just a couple other things. Lisa had mentioned the Women in Leadership. We both attended that. It was really well attended. And then coming back home, I'm proud to say Lisa and I are both going to be working with Detective Tisa Ellsworth, and they're doing a Women in Leadership Conference on the 29th. So hats off to the police department for really taking that lead on that. And so I think they've almost got a full house at this point. And it's really encouraging young women to get more involved in leadership positions. So, and lastly, we had some tragedies this past week in Casa Grande. We had some things that happened that, I'm certainly not proud of, and any community will go through them. I do want to give kudos to the police department and their partnerships that they have with the U.S. Marshals and PCSO and all the different agencies that were really able to bring some folks to justice, because that's not who we are. So anyway, that's it.
Thank you, Donna.
Boys
Go ahead, Mr. Powell.
I was just going to say, I had a chance to meet with the pipe fitters. I made it, making sure, and I started handing out things there and said, how would you guys like 1,000 miles of pipe laid? And they were pretty excited, but they need to get politics going back east to get things done, so.
All right,
Mayor, can I say one more? Just real quick.
We both
Go ahead.
forgot.
We both forgot. The Youth Commission was there representing at the event, and they are advertising their Arizona Youth Government Summit is gonna be in Casa Grande on April 23rd, 2022, and they invited all the other statewide commissions to attend. So
I'll
that
be-
is it. We were
and
very
I'll-
proud of their representation.
and I'll be there.
And the mayor will be there. I might.
All right, just a couple things for me tonight. I wanted to remind everybody that COVID is still here. Please get vaccinated. I can't say it enough. It is one way that we can get out of this doldrum that we're in terms of beating this thing. I think if everybody got vaccinated, it would go a long way in getting this thing stopped. Because what I'm seeing today, back in the first rise, which was, a year ago, it was 65 and older issues. And then over the January of last year, it was 65 because we didn't have the vaccines yet. So that was a pretty big peak. In fact, in the state, it was like 12,000 a day. And in the county, it was about 800 or 900 a day. That's a day. At least we're not there. We're about 200 or 300 in the county a day today. And it's been consistent, and it hasn't dropped off yet, and we're about 4,000, a little over 4,000 a day in the state. So it's here, and it's hitting our younger people, is what it's hitting. So, and then their teachers and all the people who come in contact with the young people. So all I can say is please get vaccinated. This is not a political issue. It's not. It shouldn't be political. Sometimes it's turned into political, but it's like getting a polio shot, right? So it's just a vaccine. I attended the conference last week too. Several other things. I was actually able to attend with the ACA chairwoman, Peterson. She's the chairwoman for the Arizona Commerce Authority, and got some really good insights in terms of what the Commerce Authority is about and what they're doing. And I think she'll be a good ally. She's been very active in the community. She's been here a couple times, actually, and had meetings, so I'm encouraged by her activities. And then also, I had the opportunity to meet with Lucid today, and we actually began conversations about their involvement in our community. What does that look like from a charity standpoint? What does that look like from electric vehicle charging stations? How about autonomous driving vehicles, education, workforce development? Their biggest concern is education, workforce development, and housing. That is their single largest concern right now. They have over 1,000 employees out there, and now they're running into issues where there's no housing for them. As they bring in more employees, we're getting that we're at a critical point. So if you happen to talk to anybody's talking to any of the developers, kick them in the ass and tell them to start turning dirt. Because they need to start building these apartments, because we need them now. We don't need them 18 months from now, we need them now. So that's one of my tasks that I will be doing here. Also, working with a potential new purchaser of a major building downtown that may be the start of hopefully our renovation and redevelopment and renaissance for our downtown area. I'm actually meeting with them tomorrow. I think they have some initial artwork and some stuff that they want to share. So we'll see. I'm excited about it. I've been working on it since I've been mayor, and it's just been one of those things, you got your bucket list of things you work on, and it's always there, and it's not gone anywhere. So, but this is like the first little chink in the armor. So yeah, hopefully it comes to fruition. I don't want to get too overly excited about it, because then I've been disappointed before. So, and just to talk a little bit about there's a bill or a vote coming up in the House that is on this infrastructure bill. It is coming up in the House, I think, next week, 27th. And if you know anybody, please encourage them to to vote yes on it. I think it's going to pass, but it will go a long way in terms of, I think, better roads and bridges, expanding our broadband. I mean, it really is focused.
This is state,
This is federal.
federal.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
federal, so, and it's in the House, the Senate has passed it, it passed on a bipartisan basis, 69-30 in the House. So that's pretty good statement, since the Senate usually is the tougher one to get through. And also has the, well, you have to have 60% vote, right, to pass something, so the House does not. Yeah, filibuster, thank you, I couldn't remember the name of it. But water systems also, Mr. Powell, there's $8 billion in here for water systems, $65 billion in expanded broadband, $110 billion for better roads and bridges, $65 billion for power grids, even wildfire suppression, $8.25 billion, tribal communities, $3.5 billion, airports, $25 billion. So Larry, we need to get our act together with the airport so we can get some of that $25 billion. Public transit and rail, and then clean energy. Those are the major areas, but it's important, and we all need to be on top of it, so.
That's good.
Any help anybody can do on that? Working on water still, just other ideas.
Oh, yeah.
I'll share with you, Mr. Powell, some of this one.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, that's kind of the latest that's come up. And anyway, that's all I've got. Does anybody have anything else that you want to bring up? Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. City Council is adjourned.
So